The stress strain curve, parts 1 to 7. U, Y, E, 0, S, and F. Ultimate tensile stress 1, 2, yield point 3, elastic limit 4.2%, 5, strain hardening 6, necking 7, failure or fracture. The stress and strain are proportional until elastic limit is reached. It can return to its original length if load is removed, behaves elastically. Yield stress corresponds to the yield point, which the metal no longer behaves elastically. Ultimate tensile stress is the maximum load to which metal is subjected. Beyond yield point, the metal behaves plastically. The metal deforms at a greater proportional rate. When yield point is exceeded and will not return to its original form, it is often said permanently set. Goes from strain hardening, necking, until it fails. What is tensile strength? Ability to resist deformation. Ductility, ability of a material to deform before it fails. Hardness, ability to resist abrasion. Toughness, ability to absorb energy. Brittle fracture. Brittle fracture, elastic materials fractures without apparent sign. Instantaneous without little warning. Lack of deformation of the edge. Bright granular appearance. Chevron marking. Sharp notch is present in the structure with fracture. Tensile stress is present. Thick plate is more prone. Occurs before yield point. Impact test. Impact test to determine the toughness of the material. Ability to withstand fracture under shock loading. A specimen is placed on an anvil and pendulum is allowed to swing so that striker hits the specimen opposite the notch and fractures it. Energy absorbed in fracturing the specimen is recorded. The energy absorbed in fracturing the specimen is the difference between the potential energy and the pendulum possesses before being released, and that which attains in swinging past the vertical after fracturing the specimen. Tensile tests. A specimen of given dimension being subjected to an axial pull and a minimum specified yield stress. Ultimate tensile stress and elongation must be attained, and the total strain is defined as the total deformation that a body undergoes when subjected to an applied load. Types of welding. Single pass, multi-pass run, tack welding, full penetration fillet. Single pass is common with automatic welding process. Weld created with a single pass over the area. Multi-pass run, common with manual arc welding. Thicker plating, single layer of weld laid, then the slag is removed, an additional layer or run of weld laid. Process repeated until joint has been completely built up. Tack welding, temporary spots of welding used to hold plates and sections in place. Short, light runs of weld metal. Full penetration fillet used for special strength is required. Vertical leg veered to allow weld penetrate certain connections. Weld faults, there are 9. LLL, NSP, UCO. LLL, NSP, UCO. Lack of fusion. Weld runs not adhering to each other. Lack of reinforcement. Insufficient build-up of welds. Lack of root penetration. Weld not reaching root area. No inter-run penetration. Gaps existing between runs of weld. Slag inclusion. Improper removal of slags between runs. Porosity. Air bubbles trapped in the weld. Undercut. Edge of the plate burnt due to excessive current. Crack. Unequal cooling and overlap. Excessive weld over adjacent surface. How to attach aluminum and steel. So you have 4 parts: the aluminum, non-absorbent packing, aluminum rivet, and the galvanized steel on the deck. Fairing surface adjoined, bedded down in jointing compound. They use neoprene or Teflon, which is non-absorbent packing on the middle. For the explosion bonded bar, 2 metals are joined by a special process to form a bimetallic bar. This is in weld-in. Transition bar is a combination of the 2 dissimilar metals and is fused using an explosive process. 2 metals are joined by a special process to form a bimetallic bar. This is in welded-in. Transition bar is a combination of the 2 dissimilar metals and is fused using an explosive process. Purpose of flux. 7. MFCCC AF. MFCCC AF. MFCCC AF may be component of the welding rod provided independent. Form gas shield on welded area. 3. Consumes oxygen. 4. Consumes nitrogen. 5. Combines with molten metal. 6. Arc stabilizer. 7. Forms protective slag. 1. May be component of the welding rod and provide independent. 2. Forms gas shield on welded area. 3. Consumes oxygen. 4. Consumes nitrogen. 5. Combines with molten metal. 6. Arc stabilizer. 7. Forms protective slag. TIG, tungsten inert gas. 7. UAFFIHAN. UAFFHAN. Use for metal 6 mm thickness or less or aluminum. Arc drawn between a water-cooled non-combustible tungsten electrode and the metal. Flux is replaced by IG. Filler may be added. High-frequency discharge used to ignite the arc, also known as tungsten arc gas-shielded weld. Tags. And no consumable wire. Welding. Welding is the science of joining 2 members together in such a way they become an integral unit. Example: resistance or pressure and fusion. Fusion welding technique is electric arc welding and gas welding. Electroslag welding. Electroslag welding has 7 WNRCCFC. WNRCCFC. 1. Welding heavy casting components. 2. No IG shield. 3. Resistance path heating through the flux. 4. Current passes into a weld pull through a wire. 5. Copper water-cooled shoes retain the molten pull of weld metal. 6. Flux fed manually. 7. Continuous weld. Paint coverage. Weighted surface area calculation. Surface area in meter square is equals to 2.58 square root of displacement times waterline length. 2.58 multiplied by the square root of the displacement times waterline length. And quantities in liters, surface area divided by the paint coverage in square meter per liter. Corrosion and erosion. Corrosion is the wasting away of material due to its tendency to return to its natural state with the environment and electrochemical reaction. Could be atmospheric corrosion or immersion corrosion. Takes place between two dissimilar materials. Metals may release energy, resulting release of ions that creates anodes and cathodes. Erosion. Mechanical action which results in deformation of metal. The deterioration of metal. Mechanical. Erosion. Mechanical. Electrochemical corrosion, impingement and cavitation occurs where turbulent water flows, occurs where vapor cavities implode on the plating near the propeller. Cathode, anode, and electrode. Cathode, anode, and electrolyte. Anode, negatively charged material donates electrons to a current flow. Cathodes, positively charged material receives electrons from current flow. An electrolyte, solution that permits flow of electrons from one metallic area to another, and salt water is a good electrolyte. Margin line. Margin line is an imaginary line located 76 mm below the top of the bulkhead deck at the ship's side. It is the highest permissible water plane of the vessel as per damage stability. Margin of safety, and ensuring adequate level of reserve buoyancy in damage condition. So margin line is imaginary line located 76 mm below the top of the bulkhead deck at the ship's side. The highest permissible water plane of the vessel as per damage stability, and margin of safety, and ensuring adequate level of reserve buoyancy in damage condition. Purpose of transverse bulkhead. Purpose of transverse bulkhead. There are 6 PPSRCN. Provide watertight subdivision of the ship. Protect against the spread of fire. Supports the deck and superstructures or deck house. Resist racking stress. Create watertight spaces for storage. Number vary with vessels type, length, and special needs. Must have collision, aft peak, and machinery space bulkhead. So number 1, provide watertight subdivisions of the ship. 2, protect against the spread of fire. 3, supports the decks and superstructures, deck houses. 4, resist racking stress. 5, create watertight spaces for storage. 6, number vary with types of vessel, length, and special needs. Must have collision bulkhead, aft peak bulkhead, and machinery space bulkhead. Watertight. Watertight as having scantlings and arrangements capable of preventing the passage of water in any direction under head of water, likely to occur in intact and damaged condition. Weathertight means that in any sea condition, water will not penetrate into the ship. Does not include a head of water, in other words, not being submerged. Factor of subdivision. Factor of subdivision are the black coefficient, freeboard ratio, shear ratio, compartment permeability, and the permissible length is equal to the factor of subdivision multiplied by the floodable length. So the floodable length at any point in the ship's length, max length of the compartment having its center at that point, which can be flooded without submerging the margin line. So the floodable length at any point in the ship's length, the max length of the compartment having its center at that point, which can be flooded without submerging the margin line, and multiplied by the factors, black coefficient, freeboard ratio, shear ratio, compartment permeability will be the permissible length. Requirement for positioning of height and collision bulkhead be 5% of the length overall, or 10 meters, which is lesser, and 8% of length overall, or 5% plus 3 meters, whichever is greater. So 5% or 10 meters, which is less, and 8% or 5% plus 3 meters greater. Collision bulkhead. Collision bulkhead, the bow of at least one out of the two ships involved in a collision will be damaged. Located not so far forward as to be damaged on impact. Not too far that compartment flooded causes excessive trim by the bow. Class society required a location for ship's length not to exceed 200 meters from forward perpendicular, not less than 5% length overall, or 10 meters, which is less, not more than 8% length overall, or 5% of length overall plus 3 meters, whichever is greater. Watertight bulkhead deck. Watertight bulkhead deck on passenger ship means the uppermost deck at any point in the subdivision length to which the main bulkheads and the ship's shells are carried watertight. Part A, General Regulations 3. Passenger and crew evacuation will not be impeded by water in any stage of flooding. Maybe a step deck. In cargo ships, the freeboard deck may be taken as the bulkhead deck. And weekly test for passenger vessel. Yeah, watertight bulkhead deck on passenger ships means the uppermost deck at any point in the subdivision length to which the main bulkheads and the ship shells are carried watertight. Part A, General Regulations. The passenger and crew evacuation will not be impeded by the water in any stage of flooding. Maybe a step deck. In cargo ship, the freeboard deck may be taken as the bulkhead deck. Watertight doors categories B, C, D. B, C, D. B may be opened during navigation when work in the immediate vicinity of the door and must be closed immediately when task is done. May be opened to permit the passage of passenger and crew, must be closed immediately after transit through door is done. And D, watertight door width is 1.2 meter less. In machinery space shall remain closed at all the time. Watertight door fitted on the bulkhead deck shall be closed before voyage commences and shall be closed during navigation. Okay, this is the watertight door sliding type. There are 18. First is solenoid to disengage hand gear during power operation. 2, door opening. 3, door frame. 4, alarms on both sides. 5, screwed shaft. 6, bronze door nut. 7, steel sliding door. 8, buffer spring. 9, roller. 10, trackway. 11, limit switch. 12, from handwheel above bulkhead deck. 13, solenoid operated clutch. 14, electric motor. 15, worm gears. 16, meter wheels. 17, hand wheels. 18, signs posters. So watertight doors as the scantlings of the stiffeners on either side of the opening are increased to give an equivalent strength to that of the unpierced bulkhead. The mild or cast steel fitted below are fitted as well, and below the waterline should be a vertical or horizontal sliding type. It can be operated by 15 degrees list, can be closed from vicinity of the door and above bulkhead deck. The indicator provided showing door is open or closed. Power driven by electric motor and worm gears. Hydraulic ram with hydraulic hand pump above bulkhead deck. Hose tested, head tested under the head of water extending to bulkhead deck. 90 seconds closed by hand. SOLAS requirement for the numbers of opening in watertight bulkheads. And the number should be reduced to minimum. Approved watertight doors fitted for openings in watertight bulkheads. Number of classes based on vessel type and location. No openings below bulkhead deck on collision bulkhead. More info on Regulation 13 for passenger vessels and Regulation 13-1 for cargo vessels. Watertight door inspections, and the drills recorded. Inspections recorded description of any defects found, times of closing and opening. There are 18. Gasket and knife edge to ensure doors close properly. 2. Gasket not painted. 3. No excessive gaps. 4. Perform chalk tests or light tests. 5. Dogs move freely and securely closed. 6. Lubricate. 7. Hydraulic leaks. 8. Clear trackway. 9. Smooth operation. 10. Local and remote operation. 11. Indicators. 12. Manual and automatic operation. 13. Damage hoses and pipes. 14. Unusual noises. 15. Cylinder rods. 16. Closing time within limits. 17. Delay time within limits. 18. Alarm operations. Hinge watertight doors. You have the rubber gasket, you have the door, you have the house side, you have the flat stiffener, you have the hinge and the clip. Hinge watertight doors may be fitted to watertight bulkheads in passenger ships above decks, which are 2.13 meters or more above the low water line. Similar doors are fitted in cargo ships to weather deck openings, which are required to be weathertight. Hinge watertight doors, waterline bulkheads above 2.13 meters or more above the low water line, and can be fitted similar to cargo ships to weather deck openings, which are required to be weathertight. Role of the class societies. There are 6 roles. Develop and apply DCERIM. Develop and apply technical standards. Confirm constructions and standards. Ensure initial classifications are maintained. Regular inspections of hull machinery and equipment. Issue certificate. May act on behalf of the flag state. Develop and apply technical standards. 1. 2. Confirm constructions and standards. 3. Ensure initial classifications are maintained. 4. Regular inspections of hull machinery and equipment. 5. Issue certificate. 6. May act on behalf of the flag state. The list of survey frequency. Initial survey, there are 7. Initial survey, annual survey, intermediate, special survey, docking survey, in-water survey, and damage survey. Initial survey during constructions or when entered into class. Annual survey every 12 months after annual initial survey, plus minus 3 months. Intermediate could replace second or third annual survey, plus or minus 3 months. Special survey revalidation every 5 years prior to issuance. After 4 years. Docking survey less than 15 years. Twice in a 5 year, not more than 3 years. 15 years ships every 2 years, depends on ship's type. If it's less than 15 years, twice in a 5 year, but not more than 3 years. And in the 15-year-old ships every 2 years. Depends on the type. In-water survey, it can replace one of the two docking surveys in 5 years period. And the damage survey at time of damage or prior to lifting interim certificate. Annual survey items, there are 19. Wow, 19. 1. Protection of opening. 2. Freeboard marks. 3. Hatches. 4. Ventilators. 5. Cargo doors. 6. Side scuttles. 7. Overside discharge and openings. 8. Guardrails. 9. Water clearing arrangement. 10. Means of crew access. 11. Steering gear arrangement. 12. Anchor arrangement. 13. Lashing and securing points. 14. Lashing and securing equipments. 15. General condition of vessels. 16. Dry bulk cargo ships inspection. Forward and after cargo hold. So, yeah. And 17. Structural fire protection. 18. Safety equipment. 19. General inspection of machinery and electrical. That's a lot. Enhanced Survey Program. ESP, Enhanced Survey Program, is a guideline for shipping companies and owners to prepare their ships for the special survey, the 5-year, to maintain the safety of the vessel while at sea or at port. A survey program is to be developed by the owner and is submitted to recognized authorities such as class societies 6 months before the special survey. Hull prep in dock. Hull prep in dock. Okay, I think we did this already. No, hull prep in dock. That should be thoroughly cleaned. There's 5 of those. Thoroughly clean. Water blasting, grit blasting, abrasion wheels, grinding, scaling, recovery of cleaning agents. 2. Protections or covering of components not to be painted. 3. Repairs as required. Anodes, fittings. 4. Applications of primer. 5. Applications of topside boot topping under anti-fouling paint.